Okay, good morning, Year 8. I know it's very difficult trying to decide what you're going to study for your GCSEs. However, you don't have a choice about maths. Everybody will study maths, same as you have been doing your entire school life. So we've made that bit easy for you. You don't have to decide how important you think it is. We're telling you it's important. Now, with that in mind, then I thought I'd tell you a little bit about how it's going to work at GCSE, what will be the same, what will be different, and also some extra opportunities you might get as you go into Year 9, 10, and 11. So, how will maths work here we go. Maths at Year 9, 10 and 11 will work very similar to what you have now. You'll have 8 lessons a week and you'll be setted with people of similar ability to you, 2 tiers, which you probably know already are higher and foundation. Now that won't affect you on your day-to-day basis, but it's just something that you should know. At the end of Year 11, you'll be sitting an exam, much like every subject, but we will have 2 tiers, which means you could be sitting foundation, grades 1 to 5, or higher, grades 4 to 9. And what we'll do there is we will decide that closer to the time. For some of you, it'll be very apparent already. And for a lot of you in the middle, we will not yet know which way you could go. And so we'll spend Year 9 and Year 10 trying to work that out really by teaching you both types of content and seeing how well you respond to both. But other than that, you will be setted. That will make the biggest difference to your maths education. So you'll be with people of similar ability and you'll get homeworks which are appropriate to your strengths. So there are 3 types of questions you get in maths. You'll have seen these already, and it's very much similar to what you have at primary school and in Year 7 and 8. We have fluency, which is just do, things like can you find the average, the mean, the median, can you find the perimeter, etc. Reasoning, can you explain why? So that's things like which is the better value or best buy, will this fit or not, explain how you know, is this a good prediction, all that sort of thing. It's a little bit more applied as well. And then the problem solving, where we take all the maths words out of it, for example, and you might not even be told that there are angles involved. You'll just be told that there is a ship sailing at sea and it's sailing north and so on and so on. So there will be worded problems as well that require some application of what you know. The proportions are there. Now that will mean very little to you, but that's the aim that we're looking at. So if you think about the way maths is split up and you quite like algebra, you'll get more of it at higher tier. So if you're actually very good at algebra, you might be a better focused higher tier student. You get more geometry as well, and you get less ratio, all that sort of thing. So if you're interested, you can spend some time studying that, but I suspect you won't be. As I mentioned earlier, you will have 3 90-minute papers at the end of Year 11, and you'll also have plenty of mocks leading up to that, which work on the same principle. The first one is always non-calculator. The next 2 are calculator. Right. So how does the setting work then? Well, very similar to what you have already. Your set and your tier are closely linked to your target grade. If you're at a top set, we're expecting you to achieve a 7 or better. So that's what we're hoping for. Your 7 is the old A. So if you've got older brothers or sisters, they might talk about getting an A grade student. Now, if you're in a higher set, that means that we think you have a good chance of getting a 6. If not, we don't think there's much point putting you on higher. The evidence seems to be that it's better for you to be on foundation. So don't think of it as a poke, because the majority of people are within that 4, 5, 6 middle boundary. And if we don't think there's a good chance of you getting a 6, then we will put you on foundation, because we believe, and the evidence says, that it's easier to get a grade 5 on foundation. It also gives you a bit more capacity, if you're not stressing about the higher tier content, to focus on your business studies or your science or anything like that. Now, 5 is the good pass. I'm sure you've heard that enough. People want 5 5s. And the current guide suggests, as I said, that you're going to get it on foundation more easily. If you're struggling, we will teach you towards higher and drop you down. It's unlikely that we will upgrade you, although that does happen. But mostly what happens is we try to aim high. And if you find yourself struggling, then we'll say, okay, higher is not for you. Let's play safe. Let's get you a 5 on foundation. And we will take that, and you can use your extra bit of effort and capacity and time to work on other subjects. So homework, class, expectations, exam length, schedule, they're all the same. You'll sit exams at the same time, you get the same homework, or you get homeworks at the same time and same rate for the same length, and your class teacher will set those based on who you're with. Now, how do lessons work? Again, you've done maths lessons, probably over 1,000 by now in your life, and you will still sit short topics with review tasks at the end. So you might spend 3 weeks on Pythagoras, 2 weeks on ratios, something like that. And then we'll teach you work in layers, and I've got an example for you below. But what we do is the idea is called a spiral curriculum for those of you who are interested, where we teach you something the first time around with a simple understanding, and then a second greater understanding. And the third time we come, we look at tricky, awkward examples, or how we can bring in, for example, algebra into fractions, and all those sorts of ideas. So we'll go effectively round in a spiral, repeating the same topics, but with more and more depth and complexity each time. So because we do that, it depends on how well you are doing where you are. So what we teach top set year 9 might be studied by second set in year 10 and third set in year 11. And as I said, you can imagine it like a ladder. Everyone climbs at their own pace, but they all take the same journey. We're all climbing upwards. So if you're a particularly able mathematician, you might be studying something that some people never even get high enough to reach. That'd be the sort of grades 7, 8, and 9. Everybody will get up to grades 5 because that's on the foundation, so everybody will see that. And the majority will fall in that 4, 5, 6 boundary because that's where the bulk of. So when we do test you, we will be testing roughly termly in line with your progress reviews, and we will be viewing everything that you've done recently and also historical content. So it's a cumulative test. It's the phrase that we use quite regularly. And what it means is things that you've done a long time ago, and in some cases for top set students, that might even be 2 or 3 years ago, you'll have to dig out and revise when it comes to those exams. In order to help you with that, we will have, and you have these now as well, regular review lessons, key skills, if you like, and we will practice key concepts such as formulas, percentages, rates of change, area of a circle, that kind of thing. And they're staple bread and butter questions that you'll have seen, part of those fluency. Just do. We expect you to be able to do them with almost no notice and little recollection. I should be confident, for example, by the time you hit year 11, that you can find the area of a circle without warning and without needing to look up the formula in a revision guide first. If you're really good, what we will do is we will offer you an additional qualification in maths. Everybody will be doing standard tier maths for those 8 hours a fortnight. And what we will do if you're particularly good is during year 9, we will assess you and decide if you're suitable for further maths, which is an after school GCSE qualification. This takes place once per week after school. And if you think of it as grades 7, 8 and 9, which you will be studying as an able mathematician, but also grades 10, 11 and 12 if such a thing existed. So you'll get a separate standalone qualification. You'll have an additional certificate, an additional grade that you can put on your applications and things. And it will include the hardest half of standard year maths and also an easier half, if you like, of A-level maths. It's the beginnings of A-level. So if you're considering doing A-level maths, it's one of the best foundations that you can have to go and take further maths. It gives you a big insight in it, a bit of a head start. It also helps you understand the subject more and explore it and decide if it's right for you. So if you're considering it, it might well be worth doing further maths. It's also worth doing further maths if you're not going to do A-level maths, because it's nice to have an extra certificate that says to employers when you're 30, 35, I didn't go down the maths route, but I could have done if I'd wanted, because this is what I did at GCSE. I took an additional GCSE and I know I'm good at it because I got a grade in that as well. And if you are still struggling with maths, if maths is not your thing, well, we don't want you to leave without a GCSE. If you're at risk of not passing, we enter you for something called an entry-level certificate, which is a coursework type component which you do in school with weekly assessments and with weekly little projects, and that builds up a portfolio of evidence similar to a BTEC if you're considering some of those. It's a small qualification which we'll do in year 11. Once we're confident that that's something that you might need, you'll sit it alongside your GCSE. Obviously, hopefully you'll get your GCSE as well, but if not, you can get an entry-level certificate grade 1, 2 or 3. And that's also useful because you can give it to employers and say, I may not have been top banana at the algebra, but I can do time, money, all the other things that are important on day-to-day living. Okay, so hopefully that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. If you would like to know any more, if you email me on a.hutchinson@lutterworthcollege.com and I can help you with your queries. Good luck deciding what you're going to do.